folks, this is Ben Ash at BA Guitar Tuition, just leaving a video response into a question that was put forward by YouTube user Mart231. Now what he asked was, for my last tutorial with Alison Hell, during the solo, what was the exact backing that was done, which is a very good question. So what I'm going to do is go through a few little examples of that particular one, breaking down the chords and some of the rhythms, and then giving a full demonstration of the whole backing with the backing track included. So let's get started. Right, in the first part, we're basically going through a standard shug, which is going to be an 8th note triplet. So it's going to go 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a, so 3 hits per beat, to the BPM of 146, and the examples as follows should go a little bit like this. And as you can see there, what we're doing is an alternate strumming pattern, where every time I actually go across a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, it will either land on a down and an up. And where it's actually accented, quite often I'm going to be pulling up with an upstroke. The key thing is to not force the downstroke where it's not appropriate. So just kind of keep with the momentum of the alternate picking, whereas you start with, let's say, the first 1 and a will be down, up, down. And then when you go 2 and a, it will be up, down, up. And vice versa. So it's just keeping an eye on that. You can do the whole thing with all down strokes, which is a very, very fresh thing to do. Just be warned that sufficient warm-ups are really, really important for this, because you potentially will be in danger of an RSI injury if you actually push it too far. That's why a lot of these thrash bands are wearing great big wristbands, because they've all got RSI injuries. I mean, just look at anyone bands, let's say like Megadeth, Metallica, to the newer bands like Municipal Waste. That's one of the main reasons they wear the wristbands, is to actually brace the support on their wrist to actually do all those downward strumming. It's not just a fashion accessory. So make sure you do warm up for these. Now the chords you're seeing in that section started off with the chord of A5, and then we go into a slash chord, which is basically going to be a G, but with a B in the bass. So it's going to be G/B, which a little bit kind of transcends into C5. It looks very, very much like if you took the C5 and just staggered the first finger to the 3rd fret to the 2nd, and then transpose the 2nd finger to the 4th fret on the G string, take away the pinky, and that's how you get that chord. The cool thing about this neatly slides the 1st finger from the 2nd fret, you know, the B, into C, add your pinky back, then you've got your C5. Take that shape as A based on the A string, and then just shift it up to the E string. And you've got your G5 chord, and it basically just repeats that pattern with the chug of the 8th note triplet going across on the A5, transcending G with the B in the bass, C5, G5. The next section just keeps a standard chug of palm muted 8th note triplet going across into the key of F sharp, and it does that for the equivalent of 8 bars. What you can do is actually class it as 2 rounds, and each round will have 4 bars. But if you want, for the long run, just say 8 bars of standard. And just once again, keeping that nice and alternate to get a smooth rhythm out from that. You can try the same thing with let's say, not alternate picking, but actually with downstrokes. The only thing is though, once again, it's going to put a lot of strain on the wrist. So I do actually recommend just do it with alternate because it's a lot smoother transition and it just keeps it, nice and even and percussive. Going into the next section, which is going to be our tail end, simply the BPM I've done is dropped it down into 73 because it's slightly more free time, and then just holding for the equivalent of 2 bars each of A5. You can either do it E bass from the 5th fret or traditional shape A bass, fretting, barring around the 2nd fret on the D and the G strings. Ring for 2 bars, and then you basically drop a flat 3rd into F sharp, which is the 2nd fret on the low E string. Now we've had a little bit of chugging on there as well. There is 1 bar of quarter note triplet. Now the quarter note triplet has a very, very unique rhythm, where rather than, let's say, you get the equivalent of, let's say, 4 crotchets or quarter notes per bar, you're now going to get 6. So rather than going 1, 2, 3, 4, you'll get the equivalent of, let's say if I get a click going, 1 and 3 and okay, I'll do it one more time. 1 and 3 and It has a very, very kind of, I always like a Caribbean feel to it. I always think of like Carlos Santana or any of those sort of rhythms. It's a very popular thing that guitarists like Kurt Hammett use to actually accent various notes and so forth. And so does Dave Mustaine on Holy Wars for the main lead guitar thing that comes in towards the start of the song, just for a point of notice. And that particular one goes something a little bit like this. And then after that, you're back into your standard verse. And there you have it. That's the backing to the solo. I hope you found that helpful. And once again, for any other inquiries, don't be afraid to leave a message in the D-bar. Alternatively, visit my YouTube channel and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. But in the meantime, keep rocking and stay inspired. See you later, folks.